Most people plant in spring and eat for a week. They put things in the ground, wait, get one harvest, a flush of lettuce, a handful of radishes, and then it's over. By June, they're back at the grocery store. That's not a garden, that's a one-time event. What I want to show you today is how to build a spring garden that actually keeps producing. Not just crops that taste good, but crops that keep giving or automatically hand off to the next thing. These 8 crops are the ones I come back to every spring, not because they're trendy, but because they work. When you plant the right ones, spring becomes a connector, not a one-time event. Let's get into it. Crop 1, leaf lettuce. Not head lettuce, leaf lettuce. This is the single most important distinction beginners get wrong. Head lettuce, like iceberg or romaine, gives you one harvest and it's done. Leaf lettuce gives you a continuous cut. You take the outer leaves while the center keeps growing, and about 3 weeks later, you're harvesting again. Plant a new short row of leaf lettuce every 2 weeks, and you have fresh salad greens from April through June without replanting. That's succession sowing, one of the most efficient things you can do in a spring garden. 1 cheap seed packet, 2 months of salad. Crop 2, kale. Kale is the crop people either love or give up on after one bad experience, usually because they harvested it wrong. Same rule as lettuce, outer leaves only. Leave the central growing point alone, and this plant will produce from early spring all the way into winter. It actually gets sweeter after a frost. For a family, 6 to 8 plants is enough. They'll outlast almost everything else you put in the ground this spring. Kale is one of the most calorie-dense leafy greens you can grow. If feeding your family is the goal, this one isn't optional. Crop 3, Swiss chard. Swiss chard does what spinach wishes it could do. Spinach bolts in heat. It gets bitter, it goes to seed, and by July, it's finished. Swiss chard doesn't care. It handles heat and handles cold, and it keeps producing leaves all season long with a cut-and-come-again harvest exactly like the others. The stems are edible too. Sauté them separately, they cook like celery. Nothing goes to waste. If you have limited space and you have to choose between spinach and Swiss chard for spring into summer production, chard wins every time. Crop 4, radishes. Radishes are a gateway crop, not because they're the most nutritious thing in the world, but because of what they teach you. They go from seed to table in 25 days. That is faster than almost anything else you will grow. Plant a short row. In less than 4 weeks, you're pulling food out of the ground. That cycle of results, especially if you have kids or if you're new to this, changes how you feel about the whole garden. There is something about eating food you grew from a seed in under a month that makes the rest of it feel possible. But here's the production play most people miss. Radishes also act as a natural row marker and a space reclaimer. When you sow slow germinating seeds like carrots or parsnips, the row looks empty for 2 to 3 weeks. You don't know where the row is. You accidentally step on it. You lose track of it. Plant radishes in the same row and they pop up in 5 days, marking the line clearly. By the time the carrots need the space, the radishes are already on your plate. You're getting food from ground you were going to use anyway. That is not a bonus crop. That is free food built into waiting time. Plant a new short row every 10 days through spring and you have a continuous supply. Most people plant once, eat once, and forget about radishes. Treat them as a recurring planting and they become one of the most reliable producers in the whole garden. Crop 5, peas. Peas are spring's most generous crop, and most people don't plant enough of them. They add nitrogen back into the soil, they feed you fresh off the vine, and they freeze well if you get more than you can eat. When they're done, usually by midsummer, you pull them and plant something else in that exact spot. That transition is the key concept here. Peas don't just produce food, they prepare the ground for the next planting. Get them in early, as soon as the ground is workable. They can handle frost, and most people wait too long and miss the window entirely. A 10-foot row of snap peas will give a family of 4 more than they'll know what to do with. Crop 6, spinach. Spinach wins in early spring, and that window matters more than most people realize. It's one of the first things you can get in the ground, weeks before most crops are even thinking about going outside. It tolerates hard frost. It actually prefers cold. Soil temperatures as low as 35 degrees, and spinach will still germinate. It's also one of the most nutrient-dense things you'll grow all year. More iron than almost any other garden green, more folate, more vitamin K. If feeding your family is the real goal, spinach in that early spring window is adding serious nutrition. The strategy is simple. Plant it now, Harvest heavily before the heat arrives, then let the bed transition. Don't try to stretch spinach into summer. It will go bitter and you'll be frustrated with it. Use it for the window it was built for and move on. Whatever you can't eat immediately, wilt it down on the stove, squeeze out the water, bag it, and freeze it. That frozen spinach goes into eggs, soups, and pasta all the way through fall. You planted it in March and you're still eating it in October. Before we get into the lost two, drop a comment and tell me which one of these you're actually planting this spring. I read every comment. Crop 7, garlic. If you planted garlic last fall, it's coming up right now. If you didn't, file this away for October. Garlic is the longest commitment in the garden, planted in fall, harvested in midsummer, but the spring production play is garlic scapes. Scapes are the curled green stalks that hardneck garlic sends up in late spring. You cut them off to redirect energy to the garlic bulb underground, and they are one of the best tasting things that comes out of a spring garden. Sauté them, put them in a stir fry, make a scape pesto. It's a harvest that most people throw away because they don't know what it is. If you have garlic in the ground right now, you have a spring crop most gardeners are completely missing. Crop 8, potatoes. Potatoes are the foundation crop of this list. Everything else here is continuous or seasonal. Potatoes are a one-time harvest, but that harvest is a month's worth of food from a small patch. 10 pounds of seed potatoes planted in a 4x8 bed will return 40 to 60 pounds of food by midsummer. That's a real number from a real size space. They go in early spring, need almost no attention, and when the foliage turns yellow and falls back, you dig up your winter storage. Potatoes also work in containers, in grow bags, in stocked tires. You don't need a traditional row garden. If you have any outdoor space at all, you can grow potatoes. Here's what this actually looks like as a timeline. Early spring. Spinach, peas, radishes, and lettuce go in first. They handle frost, they don't need warm soil, and they're producing before your neighbors have even thought about the garden. This is the window most people waste by waiting. Don't wait. Mid-spring. Chard and kale go in as the first plantings start to mature. They carry you through summer when the cool season crops are finished. This timing is intentional. You never want a gap where nothing is producing. Seed potatoes get pressed into the soil as soon as the ground is workable, often at the same time as your first round of greens. While you're eating lettuce and spinach, the potatoes are expanding underground. By midsummer, when you pull them, you have a month's worth of food in one afternoon. Garlic has been in the ground since October. The scapes arrive in late spring as a bonus harvest before the bulbs are ready in July. When you lay it out that way, this isn't 8 separate crops. It's a sequence with almost no gaps. Something is always producing. Something is always ready next. That's what a spring production system looks like. Not a list, but a timeline of food moving from one crop to the next without leaving your family waiting. Plant these 8 things this spring. By June, you'll understand why I come back to them every year. If you want a garden that actually feeds you instead of starting over every month, subscribe. That's what this channel's about. YouTube thinks you like this video next, so I'll see you there.